This video and all other videos on this channel for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and today I want to quickly outline some updates and give you guys a baby update and that kind of thing, because it's going to be a slight change of schedule for the next couple of days. Then I want to essentially talk about a couple of cycles for the crypto stocks, for Bitcoin. Then I want to talk about altcoins, because if we are going to invalidate my altcoin idea, it should be pretty much next week, if not the week after. And if we do not invalidate that idea, then anyone that's an altcoiner and is cheering on Altseason would probably do well to at least consider that idea of mine. Okay, so hopefully, for everyone else's sake, we can invalidate this idea. I'll show you exactly what that would look like. And as you know, as I've been saying for a long time, I'm cheering it on. I would rather be wrong because I'm not going to lose anything. Everyone else will. So let's hope that I can be invalidated. I'll show you exactly what we're looking at there and how you can be the first to be able to come here and say, ha, you were wrong, Camel. But also, this is a market, anything can happen, and if we are going to trade down, then you probably, if you're an altcoiner, would like to know about that, I'm assuming. So as for the baby update, if this baby is not here today by natural causes, then he's going to be here tomorrow by force, okay? So what that essentially means is, if you're expecting a weekend's deep dive video, it's probably not coming on Saturday, I'm going to be honest, okay? I'm going to do my best to get it out. It might end up being Saturday, it might end up being Sunday, it might end up not being until next week. I have really no idea. Obviously, I can't really control this stuff. We are booked in to go to hospital at 8:30 on Saturday morning and bring this baby here by 4, so if it's not here before then. Okay, so that's just a heads up. Also, I have told the members during the midweek members update, there will be a members only video on Saturday, and one of you pointed out that there probably won't, because I'm not going to be here. So the members video will be there as soon as I can, as will the weekend's deep dive. But obviously, I hope you can understand, I'm probably going to be a little bit busy in the meantime. So expect a bit of a wobbly upload schedule for the next few days. And once again, I wanted to use this opportunity to say thank you for the people that have been sending baby gifts and stuff to the PO box. Very much appreciated by both me and the wife. So hopefully that clears that up. Allow me a couple of days, please, and we'll get back to business as soon as possible. As for now, I can see a bunch of people freaking out, okay? But Nazco is doing the correct thing here and saying, welcome to August. Even at 115k with potentially a failed half cycle low, not that that really means anything, but even with that potential failed half cycle low, we're still looking pretty bullish when we zoom out, aren't we? I don't think this is anything to sweat, and I think if you are sweating this, you're probably a little bit too zoomed in, at least for now. So shout out to Nasco. Nasco does fantastic work. And I can see people asking things like this. Strategy has posted the biggest earnings beat in Wall Street history and gave insanely bullish guidance, but MSTR is trading down, right? And Mark here asks, am I missing something? And of course, the Camel Crew knows the answer. Yes, you are missing something because the daily cycle hasn't bottomed yet. So it doesn't matter what happens in the data sets. It doesn't matter what the narrative is. The narrative can be spun bullish or bearish. Here, we're spinning the world's biggest earnings beat into a bearish negative light. Why? Because the cycle hasn't yet bottomed. What does that look like? It looks like this, okay? We're in the window. We should be about to bottom. If we pull the DSS Brexit up, you can see this thing is getting ready to turn, and it's right inside of the timing window. We should have 1, 2, and then a turn into daily cycle 3 out of the weekly cycle low. So there's the weekly cycle look. Happy days, right? If you understand cycles, then you will obviously be looking at this and saying cycles are in control, everything else is narrative, still no failed cycle, expect this thing to turn and bottom. The same is true of many of these other crypto-related equities. If I choose Riot, for example, okay, it looks like we have had a nice gap down, we're about to find a daily cycle pivot, swing and reverse higher, and then happy days, right? Long and strong, continue to push. And again, I know a lot of people are saying, oh no, it's down 15 or 20%, terrible. But keep in mind, since just April, it was up 150%. So we're going to have to give back some gains here in exchange for staying on the trend longer and pushing up to much higher numbers. As for Bitcoin, some of you eagle-eyed viewers have pointed out that we are right in that timing window as of this week, perhaps early next week, to see a cycle low perhaps, if instead of use this count here, which I have switched to after the indicator picked it, and because according to the rules of cycle theory, it's a lower low, right? So we should use the lowest low to anchor the cycle lows. But many of you have pointed out, if we use this as the cycle low and consider the low that I've got marked here as a deviation, then day 60 is just a couple of days away, around the 4th of August. This was the original count before we produced a lower low and the indicator picked the lower low. Again, according to the rules of cycle theory, this is the correct application. We should use the lowest lows. However, it looks a lot, doesn't it, especially down here at the DSS Brexit, like we are about to bottom. So I wonder if we are going to have to run 2 counts here, perhaps one that looks like this. Okay, and like this, where's the 4th of August? Something like this. I wonder if we're going to have to run 2 counts here at the same time. Now, if you're new to this channel, you're probably thinking, oh my goodness, this guy's just making stuff up as he goes along. How on earth are we supposed to have 2 counts running at the same time? Cycles must be LARP and BS. But if you've been here any length of time at all, you've probably seen me do this at least twice on Bitcoin before. It's not the first time we've run 2 sets of counts at the same time, and it probably won't be the last. So there is one way to look at it, and you could potentially run 2 counts if you want to. I don't know if we want to call it that or if we just want to call this a slightly late half cycle low. To be honest, as always, I'm going to do what I always do, and that is just let the market reveal what it wants to do and continue to take this thing one day at a time. I am confident we're going to get a bounce here. I really do think, especially based on the Brexit and the move down, that we are going to get a turn, and then really we'll just figure out what happens thereafter. Something else, again, if you're a daily viewer, you'll remember back in this neighborhood, I was calling for perhaps as low as 108k. I said I don't think we would trade below 108k. I was expecting this to be done into the half cycle low, not overrun. But either way, okay, we're still above 108k. We're actually, like I said, when we zoom out, as Nasco showed, I mean, if you're bearish here or you're panicking, I don't know what to tell you, right? Everything is still okay. Even if we come all the way down to 108k, I still think that's fine too. And notice that not only is this looking to turn right here, right now, so are those crypto-related stocks, right? So I think everything's okay there. Gold also, that should be the low for gold. It really ought to. You can see extremely close to turning and still above the C leg. So if we trade below this prior cycle low, then it's not an ABCDE. But all the while we do not make a new lower low below this cycle low, then the ABCDE is still valid. This should turn around, so should silver et al. Happy days there. Dixie, long and strong, right? Cycle low, pushing up. Again, if you know, you know, this should be conducive to risk on moves higher. And the stocks as well, potentially about to set a fake out or a trap, and then we can adjust this trend line, give it a little bit of wiggle room as always. Again, we've been talking about that all week as well. That shouldn't be too much of a surprise to you guys. And so all that's left to do now is be transparent and let you know exactly where my altcoin idea becomes totally invalidated. The first thing I wanted to point out is Mobster here is pointing that the risk off dominance indicator has now triggered. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not crypto has got a little bit more of a spill. I was talking about this for a while on the channel, okay, Bitcoin dominance. Now, I'm still kind of in the camp that we're not going to get a true breakdown here, like the red fractal suggests. I still think we might actually get a bounce off of support. And if I go into this chart here, you can see we actually are still trading above with a higher low. This is looking to push higher in my humble opinion. Now, again, anything and everything's on the table. If you are bullish altcoins, if you're cheering on Altseason, what you should expect is some kind of lower high bounce, a rollover, and then a true breakdown of this big support line in red. Okay, now the moment we get a breakdown of the red support line, we get multiple candle closes on a daily basis below this trend line, then I will have to hold my hands up and say, okay, there's probably going to be a nice pump in altcoins. I'm probably going to be invalidated. And anyone that wants to point and laugh at me for a dumb idea will be able to, no problems, no questions asked, no challenges from me. But until such time as that breakdown occurs, then I do think we have to kind of be open to seeing something akin to this. And there's not a lot of people that are kind of expecting that either. So just note that, okay? Again, if this is what plays out, then I continue to stand with my base case. I continue to be correct until invalidated. But the moment, again, to be clear, we break down from this trend line support, then you can start to come here and call me an idiot and say it was a bad idea, okay? So that's the first thing. The next thing is this whole magic mirror idea for Total 2, and probably the most outside the box fractal application of all time. This yellow fractal is the prior 12 months flipped, or mirrored, I should say, and overlaid. Now, again, super obvious and clear invalidation here. The moment Total 2 breaks above this prior high, then we can point at this and say, well, obviously it was the dumbest idea ever, Camel. Obviously you're wrong. Obviously Altseason is here. But if this thing continues to, roughly speaking, track the yellow fractal, then really, I think altcoiners are in a lot of trouble. I'm just being honest, okay? So again, very clear invalidation. The very moment we break above that high from back here, the very moment we close a daily candle above and then confirm it with 1 or 2 more daily candles, then I will hold my hands up and say it was the dumbest idea ever. I'm totally invalidated. Congratulations to all the altcoiners. Full send ahead. But if we do not get that, and instead we continue to, roughly speaking, follow this yellow fractal, then I think the altcoiners are in a lot of trouble. And so far, again, when we zoom in, it's not really looking like this is impossible to me at the moment. Okay, now fractals are the crayons of TA, don't get me wrong, but all I'm doing is pointing out here that if this happens, it will not be a total surprise to me. It will actually be completely within my realm of expectation. And again, if you're an altcoiner, it's super simple, okay? You must see this thing turn around probably in the first week of August when Bitcoin makes that bottom and that turn that we showed you earlier. That would be the time for Total 2 to rip above this high, wouldn't it? Okay. So if it's going to do it, I'd expect to see it probably print a low around the 4th or the 5th of August and then blast off to new highs. And again, the moment that happens, I am flat wrong on this idea. But if what happens over the coming week or so is we continue to, roughly speaking, track this fractal, then I think, you know, a lot of people are probably going to get harmed there if they're unable to pivot their stance. So very clear and easy to identify setup there for any altcoiners. It's very, very easy to read, very easy to deal with, okay? We find a low and rip to new highs, congratulations, and we do any kind of lackluster bounce and continue to do this, then you guys are in a lot of trouble if you're holding altcoins. And the last thing I wanted to point at, which is a similar idea, because a lot of people were ball posting here and saying, here we go, alt season time, right? And I just said, kind of half trolling, hence the wink, you know, just watch out for this, because again, this wouldn't be a total surprise to me at least. And what have we got at the moment? Okay, at the moment, we've got a very similar deal. Okay, here's the 50 line. Okay, here's 50, right where my cursor is. I'm going to draw this back. So far, that is a fake breakout, retest to the downside and resumption to the downside. Okay, so it actually, objectively speaking, looks even more bearish than my red squiggle here. Now, again, I'm not flagging this to say alt season's not coming or anything like that. I'm simply saying, think about it in terms of the cycles and Bitcoin turning and dominance breaking down. Again, we've got a very binary setup. If this really is breakout, retest, hard retest, and resumption, early August would be the time to see this altcoin index start to morph into a look like this. If, however, what you get is it continues to morph into a chop, whilst you've got Total 2 continuing to chop, whilst you've got Bitcoin dominance continuing to rip to the upside and perhaps even do something akin to this fractal right here, then once again, you know, the writing is going to be on the wall. And you have to learn to manage your risk. You have to learn to have an area on the chart to manage your risk around. You have to learn to not only have an invalidation where you can flip to the other side, but also to have an area where you abandon your idea completely. Right? I've made it extremely clear, I hope. My place on the chart to abandon this idea is, number one, the breakdown on Bitcoin dominance confirmed with multiple daily candles. Number two, Total 2 making a new high above this high. And number three, instead of this red squiggle playing out, what we actually get is a big morph into a look like this. Okay, so instead of this red squiggle, we would get something akin to, we've already done this. Actually, let me redraw this. We're already something akin to this, right? Down at 39. You know, 39, that's pretty low, isn't it? We're already down here. So if this idea is going to be completely wrong, it should morph into this, shouldn't it? It should get extremely low off toppy very, very quickly. So there's good news and bad news, right? The good news is we are a few days away from a turn, and then it should be party time as long as everything's intact. The bad news is this is also the moment where things can start to go horribly wrong if they're going to. And the absolute truth is nobody knows, but hopefully based on today, everyone has got their answers. Everyone can see the two scenarios for each of these setups. Hopefully by now, you know where invalidation is. You know that the cycles are looking to bottom across the board. And from there, I think we go into next week with a flexible, unbiased, open mind, continue to take this thing one day at a time and see what the market will give. So other than that, I'll be back as soon as I can. Okay, I really wanted to get the deep dive out because we got a bunch of new data to discuss, and actually it's starting to make marginal improvements, which is really cool. So I wanted to show you that. I will be showing you that in the not too distant future. And of course, if you're a member or a Slice Crew member, then you'll get some content as soon as possible. Just give me a few days to get this baby here and we'll be back to normal. So until then, have a fantastic weekend. All the best from me. Cheers. Bye.
Camel Finance, he's the man to see. Rocking the markets with his contrarian spree. Trades like a pro, no fear, no shame. Sticking to his guns in his money game. He's a bad